You know what? Look, the Second Amendment is it's about a single mom living in a tough neighborhood with a crack house down the street, being able to defend herself and defend her kids. At the end of the day, the Second Amendment, let's go back to Sutherland Springs again. That horrible tragedy was stopped because another citizen, Stephen Williford, a plumber who lived down the road, he heard about the shooting, he ran, opened his gun safe, he grabbed his AR-15, he ran barefoot to the church and he engaged the crazed gunman, and he saved lives. It was the Second Amendment that saved a lot of lives that day, law enforcement lives and innocent men, women, and children. And the Second Amendment is about people protecting themselves, and it's very easy for Hollywood liberals. Hollywood liberals on gun control is akin to Hollywood liberals on global warming, which is they fly their private jets to a conference, step out and say, global warming is terrible, let's take away everything from the working men and women, and they get back on their private jet and fly back. Same thing with gun control. If you've got a bevy of armed security officers protecting you, maybe you shouldn't be trying to strip Second Amendment rights from law-abiding citizens.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Let's Talk Headlines series. I'm your host Jay, and this is The Objective. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the 42nd episode of the Let's Talk Headlines series. Thank you for the continued support that you folks continue to give me. It is February 19, 2018. And for those of you who do not follow me on Instagram at The Objective Podcast, I would encourage you to do so. And for those of you that do, I want to thank you for taking part in conversation, for messaging me, for affirming me, all that good stuff. Like, I do not take that for granted. I truly do appreciate that. One thing that I really do appreciate, and I consider a victory for myself and an achievement for myself, is the fact that I have followers who don't see the world the way that I see it. I have anarchist followers. I have liberal followers. I have leftist followers. I have progressives. I have conservatives. And I really do appreciate that. Libertarians. It's really important to me to facilitate or to foster an environment where you have a multitude of different viewpoints and thoughts and ideologies. And that's one of the reasons why I decided and accepted an offer to be a contributor to Political Storm. You guys will see right here, themaven.net/Political Storm. It is a website where the administrators, they are determined to bring back discussion to politics. It's so important, and it's missing, especially in the mainstream. This is a website where you have contributors of different ideologies, political affiliations, and they come together, they communicate, they contribute to the website. And, it's a good place to get perspective and healthy perspective. So I encourage you to definitely check out the website. I do contribute articles to that website, and I also upload my podcast there. The quote of the day, folks, is from Benjamin Franklin, and it is relevant to our show today. The quote of the day says, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Again, this is from Benjamin Franklin. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. On February 14, 2018, Broward County and the United States of America as a whole experienced great loss. 17 lives. In those 17 were predominantly students, but there was also faculty among that number. And before I begin the show, folks, if you don't mind, let's just give a moment of silence for these lost young lives. "17 lives taken by the hands of a deranged, troubled young man, a former student of the school, to my understanding. He went through the school. He had smoke grenades, which are illegal. He was armed with an AR-15, multiple magazines, and he went through the school and he shot and killed 17 individuals. After he was finished with his rampage, he tried to merge in or meld in with the evacuating students, so not to be seen by law enforcement who were on scene. SWAT, different branches of law enforcement were on scene, and this deranged subhuman tried to merge in with the students as they were escaping. But thankfully, there were switched on officers who were able to identify and apprehend this male without issue, and he was arrested and actually put before a judge, where he faced 17 counts of premeditated murder. Now, when something like this happens, and this is no stranger to the United States, when something like this happens, a shooting of this magnitude, where so much life is taken in one sitting, what tends to happen is we receive a knee-jerk reaction from typically Democrats and those on the left side of the political spectrum. These are advocates and proponents of strict gun law. As a matter of fact, Dianne Feinstein wants to ban assault rifles. Chelsea Handler blamed the Republicans, many on the left, politicians and celebrities alike, state that the blood of these students are on Republican hands. And somehow they translate a Republican's appreciation and defense of the Second Amendment to mean that they have co-signed with these school and mass murderers. The fact of the matter is, folks, that you cannot legislate morality. The fact of the matter is, folks, that above that inability to legislate morality, there is evil in this world. There is evil. We have been on this planet for thousands of years. And where there are humans, there is death. Where there are humans, there is murder. Where there's humans, there is deception and hatred and coldness. And sometimes we don't know how to deal with that, and we don't know how to cope with that. And there's a shock value that comes with these mass murders. And we want to bypass all of that because that's not good enough. We want to say something and someone has to be blamed. And it just so happens that when it comes to these mass shootings, Republicans and guns are blamed. And Republicans are in a position where they have to uphold liberty as written in the Constitution and security. And there are mothers and there are students that would, there are videos of these mothers and students that would say, President Trump, do something. Our blood is on your hands. Do something. Do something. What do you want him to do? And I ask the question because I have not heard one piece of legislation come from anyone on the left that would have stopped this shooting, that would have stopped this murder, this act of evil. What legislation could you think of that would have stopped this? Now, if you say a gun ban, that is an argument. It's an argument. I may not agree with it or may not see it as plausible, but that's an argument. And here's the thing. This is one thing that I want to point out to you. Most of the murders in the United States happen as a result of a handgun. Handguns are used in most of the homicides, not assault rifles. So I'd ask Dianne Feinstein, who wants to ban assault rifles, why not start off with pistols? Those are the number one killers when it comes to homicides in the United States. So if banning all guns is one of your solutions to this problem, which would essentially be taking away the liberty and oppressing the law-abiding gun owners, all you're really doing is taking away the equalizer, because criminals have their hands on guns that police officers can only dream of. Criminals will get guns. Criminals will have guns regardless as what the law says. I mean, the whole idea behind let's restrict the use of legally purchasing. Let's restrict the ability to legally purchase a firearm, and that will stop criminals, or that will stop crime. I don't follow that train of thought, because criminals inherently break the law. Criminals will always commit acts of evil or find ways to commit acts of evil. So the solution, in my opinion, this is my opinion, is to provide citizens with an equalizer. Now, I also agree that there should be mental health checks, that if people are going to purchase a firearm, you should ensure that they are in good health, good mental health. I think that's something that everyone on both sides of the spectrum can agree with. But the immediate problem at hand would be, how do we protect our young? How do we protect our students? You never know what's in the mind of some of these students that were lost to this shooting. You never know the capabilities or the greatness that they could achieve if they had life. You never know if one of those students that were killed had the cure to cancer or the cure to HIV, and that needs to be protected. So my solution, before you arm teachers, I don't think that's where we're at right now, but you can put police officers. The United States of America has enough police officers that you can have each school with an armed police presence in these schools. And yeah, you may say that's extreme. Not even if it's a police, but you could also do a veteran armed in these schools. And you, like I said, people may say that's extreme. Why are we doing that? Listen, what's extreme is that there are people who are willing to walk into a school and shoot these young kids. That's extreme. Therefore, the defense of these students needs to be extreme as well. The reason why we have institutions like the FBI and other intelligence gathering institutions and departments is so that you can intercept individuals like this. There's much to be said about how the FBI dropped the ball on this deranged shooter. I'm not going to say his name to dignify his acts. But there's much to be said because the FBI actually had multiple tips about this guy. He publicly said, "I'm going to be a school shooter. I'm going to shoot schools and students and this and that." Just really extreme stuff that, beg to question, why was nothing done? There's much to be said about that. I'm not going to be pointing fingers right now. But before you get to the point where taking away the liberties of the constitutional freedoms of an American, before that can even be touched or even thought about, let us work with the institutions that we have. Let's use the resources and allocate the resources that we have, such as police officers in schools, before we utilize these knee-jerk policy reactions. Benjamin Franklin. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. It's not right to point the finger at those who would defend the Second Amendment and say you co-sign, you have the blood of those students on your hands. That is being intellectually dishonest. It's being naive. It's being ignorant. Instead, we need to realize that we have young people who are killed, and everyone feels that. The solution needs to be well thought out. The solution needs to hold the liberties of American citizens in the highest regard, while making it difficult for the criminal element to take advantage of these soft targets such as churches and schools. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Until we meet again, make it your goal to be objective. Have a good night.